Welcome to the Husker Army Podcast with your host, Husker fanatic Ryan Knutson, former Husker wide receiver Kenny Cheatham, and Husker recruiting guru Matt Sass.
What's going on, Fall In Husker Nation? You are locked into another episode of the Husker Army Podcast, brought to you by the Husker Army fan page on Facebook, run by Mr. McEnroe. Excuse me there. Check it out, guys. It's well worth it. I'm one of your hosts, Brian Knutson. With me, as always, Mr. Kenny Cheatham. Mr. KC, how you doing?
I'm all right, brother. You know.
I know. Yeah, we'll get into it. And of course, we have supposed to be a couple guests today. One might chime in when he gets the chance, but right now joining us, we've got former Husker, Mr. John Gibson. John, how you doing?
I'm doing great on this surreal Sunday, man. It's thanks for having me on the show, and it's a good movement going on right now with Husker football.
It's always good to have former Huskers on, man. No matter what, even if you never played a down, I don't care. Get on the show. You were a Husker. Once a Husker, always a Husker. Doesn't matter. Yeah. All right. Here it is. 45-42, Georgia Southern, Sun Belt Conference team comes into Memorial Stadium and wins 45-42. First time in Scott Frost's career that he has lost a game when scoring 35 or more. And, guys, we are a 23-point favorite. It looked like we were out-schemed. And Frost freely admitted that after the game, that they frankly just got beat and had no answer for it. Mm-hmm. Offensively, we looked good. We really did. Offensively, we put up 575 yards. Casey looked great, 23 of 34, put up 318 yards and 257 on the ground. Of course, the bulk of it coming from our workhorse, Mr. Anthony Grant, 27 carries for 138 yards. 3 straight games, gentlemen, over 100 yards for Mr. Grant. So we've got silver linings. The wide receivers did good. Palmer, Washington, Belt, all contributing. Washington, 123 yards receiving. All contributors. Guys, you score 42 points, you should win the game, especially against a team like Georgia Southern. No offense to them, but a Sun Belt Conference team, we should have won this, and it should have been decisive. Kenny, what do you think?
Yeah, it was hard to watch. First drive when they scored, and the second drive when they scored again, I said, I know we're going to be in for a barn burner. And just going back to the last couple of games, I haven't seen anything from the defense. Going back to Illinois, North Dakota, in this game.
Oh, Northwestern, you mean? Then North Dakota? Yeah. It might as well have been Illinois.
We touched on the first game about tackling, angles, pressure, and we did get a little pressure, but as far as the angles on the long run, there was a bad angle by the safety. The tackling, the corners, I honestly don't know what the scheme was, what coverage they're in, and how they were supposed to cover. But from my eyes, I saw guys catching the ball, not the hard ones they made, but the other ones, they were wide open, and the DB wasn't within 8 to 10 yards, if I'm correct, over the middle, on the sideline. And it was a continuous thing. And like I said to you last night when we spoke, they were set up with that last touchdown that they scored, with the guys running the drag, the guys generally getting hit on the out routes, and the case may be. So when they did that and everyone ran to the other people, quarterback went right up the middle on the draw, touchdown. So, like I said, it was hard to watch. I mean, the defense just, I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. It's like we've regressed in that aspect. Abdul, what's up, big bro?
Yep, gotta welcome our other guest. You made it, Mr. Abdul Muhammed, former Husker. Thanks for joining us today, my man.
Appreciate it.
All right, we
Happy
just
to be
talked about it. You know, a little bit of silver lining with the offense looking decent, putting up
Mhm.
575 yards. Casey Thompson looked good, looked accurate. He was on fire. Of course, our workhorse, Anthony Grant, doing what he does, another over 100-yard game. So the offense wasn't the problem. It really wasn't. John, what did you see out of the offense? I mean, honestly, they're putting up points and yards.
They are, man. They're doing everything they should be doing to win games at this point, for real. I mean, this early in the season, they're really gelling. I'm surprised how Casey Thompson is performing. He's lighting it up, man. He's hitting those receivers. I mean, this new century has been a great century for the receiver at Nebraska. The way they open up the offense. I mean, he's spreading it to like 6, 7, 8 people and having receivers over 100 yards, complemented with Grant. I mean, our offense is clicking. I mean, down the road, they need to incorporate the tight ends more to really spread that out. But if we're averaging over 30, 35 points, those should be W's, not L's. And I mean, on defense, what I see is our front seven is just getting annihilated, man. I think we had 3 tackles for losses yesterday, and that's like, opening drive. That's the expectation. The first three snaps from an opposing offense are going to be for losses in any game with our defense, man. The 3 of us all come from an era where our front seven dominated the country for as long as all of us were in school there, and that's the expectation. Our offense did a great job, but our defense they win championships, and right now we're not even winning games. So our front seven really needs to step it up. Our DBs need to improve for a little bit, for a lot actually, but the quarterback's not getting any pressure, man. The Ginger General just sat back there yesterday and he could have. I'm not going to get too far down the rabbit hole, but no pressure on him. He poised. I'm not taking away from those guys, but our front seven just needs to get after it, man. I don't know if it's from a recruiting standpoint or if it's just a tenacity and leadership standpoint on that front seven. I mean, bringing guys up to the line and disguising and dropping back. We're not doing that as much as we used to, man. We used to bring the hat on first down, no matter if it was a run. We just don't see that swagger on that front seven like we used to. And I wish we would see it, because that could make a huge difference. And then the last 3 games at least, if not last season. So we got a long road to go, but I'm happy about the horizon, especially on offense, man. But what they're doing is it's fun to watch.
Abdul, being an offensive guy, I mean, offense did look good. Receivers are looking really good right now. They're coming up with some great balls. They're helping out Casey. They're blocking downfield for Grant. I mean, it's everything you want to see out of a receiver. Am I not correct?
You are correct. And it's expected. When we brought in Mickey Joseph, we brought him in for that reason, to help out in that aspect of our offensive game plan. And so when you were seeing that early, with the connection with Casey and the receivers, I think too, even though the offense has been explosive lately, the tight end that went down week 1, I think that kind of hurt. I heard John elaborating on the tight end position being used more. I think it kind of hurt when we lost our tight end early in the Northwestern game, late in the Northwestern game, because you've seen that position kind of disappear a little bit. It's been forced in the offensive scheme lately. But I think they'll get back to that stuff, man. But yeah, offensively, man, we look good. We putting up enough numbers to win games. And so a lot of people are happy with what's been going on offensively. And so, yeah, but like John also said about the defense, we just need to work on that a little more, get that fire back, get after a little more. And I think it does come with recruiting. I've been saying this for a long time, that we just need to get some borderline guys in here, whether they make it to the level where they suiting up or not. But man, I know those guys remember Kenny and John just on scout team, man, knock your helmet off in practice. So just getting guys that just don't care about it on defense, that's what we need to get to. And I've been saying that for a minute. Like, we need to get back. We need to get back to getting those guys, man, that might get a 15-yard head hunting penalty every now, but we those guys.
Yeah, you guys bring up the defense. I mean, we'll comb right over it. It's too bad to even bring up and to try and be positive about. So, defense gave up over 640 yards, 409 and through the air, and 233 on the ground. Guys, they gave up 45 points to a Sun Belt Conference team. None of that is going to cut it for anybody. Kenny?
Most yards since 1956, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this is the type of high school coach I had. Like I told you, there was a lot of red flags for me. If I was Coach Fisher, I'm just saying what I would do, especially with the defensive back. Oh, that meeting room would be vicious, because there's things I'm seeing which to me aren't indicative of what they should be doing. They worry about too much other stuff. Like I told you, why are all your mouthpieces hanging out of your mouth?
Yeah.
Pay attention, guys. All the DBs, they're too busy throwing their hands up when they do something. You've been getting scorched.
Yeah.
Why are you putting your hands up? I know that's we all know that. The ball can be 30 yards over your head. They go do it. But then the moment we give them the business and let them know about it, they're in their feelings. We know that. That's just what they do. But these guys are doing all of this, and every time they do something, yapping. And dude, are you not watching what I'm seeing getting done to you? I'm watching this. Turn around, like I tweeted. It's amazing what you can do when you can turn around and look for the ball. Got an interception. How many PIs did we get last night? About 4, 5
At least.
Where they're not turning around to locate the ball. Aren't you taught that in youth football? Aren't you taught that when the ball's and everyone yells ball, and then you turn around and you're looking for it when it's closer to make the play? That's stuff.
Turn your head.
Yeah, that's stuff that you're taught. So when I'm looking at these guys, to me, I would be that coach that would be anal from here on out. I don't want to see a mouthpiece hanging out of your guys' mouth. You make the call, you put it in your mouth. They're dangling, they're talking and doing all this. To me, that's annoying, because you're not focused on what you need to be doing. And every time you do something, you're making all this. Dude, you're getting scorched. You're right up on them. But when I turn around and see them catching the ball, you're 10 yards back and they're catching the ball. I mean, that's why I don't coach. That's why I don't coach. Because my coach was like that. Oh, y'all thought, that's what you want to do. You're going to be running all practice and let me see you do it again. That was the end of that. So, I mean, it's discipline to me.
Yeah, I tell you this, Kenny, I remember in 1993, Chad May came into Lincoln, K-State quarterback, and just absolutely went crazy. I mean, he threw the ball all over Memorial Stadium. We ended up winning the game, but that following year, everybody was talking about what Chad May did the year before.
When y'all went to
hadn't thrown an interception all year up to that game. That's right.
We went to K-State, and you better believe those black shirts couldn't wait to get to Manhattan. And all I remember, the headlines was a lot of crying about they were grabbing his private, and they got after him, man. They got after him. And we just not getting after people no more. Right. Kenny said it, but what they call it now, Kenny, because I do coach, they call it drip. Everybody worried about how they drip look. My mouthpiece hanging, because they doing it in the NFL now. So I want to be like the NFL DBs. Mouthpiece hanging. I got the sleeves on the arms. Got to have my gloves on.
Those NFL guys can pay to replace their teeth if they get knocked out. College kids can't.
Yeah. Some of them can now.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, you're right. I mean, Kyle, their quarterback, Georgia Southern, he wasn't scared of our defense.
Nope.
At all. At all. I mean,
nobody has been.
I mean, for a long time. I mean, it's been a long time since they feared our defense. And that's what needs to be. That was half the battle. Those guys came and feared us. And then our guys brought the hat from the first snap. My God. Oh, my God, man. It was – I mean, even in practice going up against one-on-ones and going against the black shirts and I was scared. I mean, as a freshman coming in and trying to go from high school to walking in and seeing these safeties looking like linebackers, it it was a shell shock. I mean, and our defense was just at the time was again best defense in the nation. It was, but now they're not. I mean, we got to get that fear back, and it's got to start soon. I don't know if it's, and I'm not in the coaching room, and so I don't know if it's the direction from the coaches or if it's the peers holding each other accountable is the lack, because we held each other accountable by leaps and bounds, rather if it was getting in your ear or making you feel or giving or busting jokes out, knowing how the ball hits you in your forehead or in practice, So I mean, that's where it starts, and hopefully these coaches are even pressing on those leaders on the team to really hold their peers accountable.
Right. Accountability is a big thing. I can tell you this. Me coming in as a president, there's one thing, couple things Abdul taught me. I would argue with Coach Brown when he would say stuff. And Abdul just said, "Kenny, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing." And then, like, if a ball was there and I missed it, like concentrate or just whatever, he'd be like, "Little bro, they touch a hand." And ask John, I would tell them the same thing when they came in. You should have caught it. Okay, that's accountability.
Yeah,
Holding each other accountable on defense. Because today we're on the defense. Because what I saw last night was abysmal. I'm watching guys average 10 yards a carry on first down. I'm watching guys run wide down the field. I'm watching guys
untouched.
Come on, man. That was hard to watch. It's just hard to explain.
I know. So, Kenny, let me ask you a question, you and John. If somebody would have told you 30 years ago that Georgia Southern was coming into Lincoln and winning a ball game against Nebraska, you would have thought that was the
Not
joke
even
you would ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
I
would have put some money on it. I would have put my scholarship check on it. Let's bet that.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
As a fan, I would have died laughing.
Let's
With
bet
the
that.
Pell Grant and the Pell Grant money.
Yeah. That game would have been over after the first quarter, man. That they probably wouldn't have scored. They probably would have. It's possible they wouldn't even have scored on some of these teams that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
So it's just. I mean, the game against Northwestern, they're a Big Ten team. There's a lot of factors in that game that could, why they played as well as they did, but then we just played as shitty as we did. Again, the offense is going, and then the onside kick was like we would call that like onside gate. But again, it's if it would have, I would have not made that call. I mean, it's a gutsy call to make, but if it would have went our way, he's a genius. But
yeah.
That's a tough call to make right in that situation, but
especially when what everyone's been saying from the jump is on the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be calculated,
conservative at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly.
For me, guys, I think it all starts.
About how to play.
Oh, I was gonna say, I just think where it all starts, guys, is, and it's perfect segue, coaching. And unfortunately, we have to talk about the news Sunday morning here. Frost has been relieved of his duties. He is no longer head coach. Mickey Joseph has been named interim head coach for the rest of the 2022 season. Here we go, guys. Trev made the decision, he said, ultimately after the game last night. And he has also said that he has candidates in mind, but he has not contacted anybody. So I even said it to you, Kenny. I was afraid that this is what we were going to wake up to on Sunday morning. And sure as hell, here we are. We're talking about it. The Frost era is over.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of mixed emotions because that was a teammate. That was
exactly
a former player. But you knew in regards to what the record and what it has been, that the potential for it to happen was there. Like I said on our one podcast, I don't talk about people's jobs, and the people have families and stuff like that. There's too many other things that I'm never saying, fire that guy, that type of stuff. That's not what I do. Mickey's the next man up. Hopefully he can, right the ship and get us back going in a positive direction. Unfortunately, Coach Frost was relieved of his duties, but after last night's game, I had that same feeling. I don't know about you guys. Remember after Mike Riley's lost to Northern Illinois?
Yep.
We were like, uh-oh,
Yeah, I think we all knew then.
So you're like, uh-oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was just waiting, but like I said, it's a mixed feelings about it because that I played with the guy for 3 years. I want to see
Exactly.
him well. So we all do, but the record wasn't reflective of that. And I think to a point his loyalty hurt him in some way. Because I think he had Shenander at Central Florida with him.
Yep.
Correct. And that loyalty to him and the defense, because that should have been nipped and fixed in after the first game.
Oh, we lost Abdul there. We'll get him back.
But you know what's on the line type stuff. Fix it now. So, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, Abdul's back.
He's back. Yeah, it was I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
a surprise, but surreal, like I was saying earlier. I mean, this was a make or break a season for Scott. Great leader on the field he was. I mean, he's a great coach. He's done some great things. It's he stepped into a huge challenge when he took over Nebraska, and it's been real tough. And all the positive things that he's done since he's been here, it's not all reflective in his record, unfortunately. But this game's W's and L's, and the more L's you got, that's the deciding factor in a lot of ways. So, I mean, it was hard to see, but it makes sense. I'm excited to see what Mickey does this year. Coach Joseph, give him that respect right now, because the man is, the recruiting aspect of him right now, being the head coach, being in that position and walking into a kid's house with the accolades he's done just, over his whole career. I mean, that's going to attract a lot of youth that were looking to go to other places. But I'm excited to see what he does with the offense, and then if he's going to be a permanent solution. But it's his time to shine for the rest of the season right now to see if that's viable. And then the investment we put into him is something that's going to really change this program.
And what do you think, Abdul? Your thoughts on Frost being let go? I mean, the writing was on the wall after last night, I think.
Yeah, it gets tough, and it gets even tougher when if you look around the country and look at some of these, especially at the college level, you look at some of these ADs who played sports before and who's seen winning, and who's been on winning teams and been around winning programs. Usually that leash is a little shorter than the usual AD. And I figured that too, with the way things were going, and Trev being a part of that winning culture at Nebraska, that it was going to be, pretty tough if he didn't get this thing turned around real soon. And then after yesterday, man, it was just, I was in disbelief for a while after that game.
I think we all were.
Yeah. And it just became more apparent as the game continued to roll on. We went up, and I remember Coach Helton calling the timeout, and they showed him gathering the whole team and just firing into it. I'm like, man, this is crazy that Georgia Southern is really feeling like they can win the game.
Right.
So, you kind of knew something was, coming. Losing to Northwestern, losing to Georgia Southern, and then with arch nemesis and rival Oklahoma coming in here next week. It's kind of ironic. That's a team that Mickey Joe kind of ended his Husker career.
That's right.
Playing Oklahoma, and now he get to face them in his first game as interim head coach.
Yeah, that was a dirty push out of bounds. I remember
very
that.
dirty.
Man,
very dirty.
That was horrible. I remember that.
Yeah, me too. So, it's we've seen it. A lot of players seen it coming. It hurt that we in this position as a program, but I think Trev made a decision that he feels great about. Because if he didn't, he wouldn't have made it. And so I'm looking forward to the future, man. I'm a Husker fan, thinking through, no matter who coaching, I'm with it.
The biggest question I think there is, guys, and Kenny, you kind of touched on it. Shenander was with Frost over at UCF. And somebody brought up a great point about a tweet. Going back and looking at how UCF was successful while Frost was there, Shenander's defenses still gave up a lot of points. It's just Frost's offense scored more. That was the only difference. But the anomaly for me is statistically under Shenander, the defense was getting better every single year. They were making jumps as to overall standings. And this year it is complete goose egg.
And last year they were exceptional.
Yes.
They were
My question is why wasn't Shenander let go as well? Because the defense is really what lost us the game.
I think it's because it hasn't been like Kenny stated earlier, it hasn't been an ongoing thing. Like last year, there was signs of black shirts flying around.
Yeah.
And then this year, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the changes, but sometimes it can be one person, man. And I tell people all the time, man, that group that came to Nebraska back then was just really a special group of kids and athletes at that time that all came together at that time. You very seldom see stuff like that. You know, you've seen it kind of at Alabama.
Yeah.
You've seen it with Pete Carroll at US,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where a program just gets the right kids at the right time for a few years and it just becomes a dynasty.
Yeah.
And man, I was just blessed to have the teammates that I had at Nebraska, because that just doesn't happen. And so I think that has a lot to do with the defense. You know, there's just not a lot of just tough-minded kids flying around on the defense. You know, because I can tell you this, man, it was war back then with black shirts and offense. You know, in practice, it was just automatic war. So we knew what Saturdays was going to look like for other teams, because both sides of the ball just didn't play. We didn't play around. Like, it was serious. We was going to war and we was going to battle. You know, anytime it was ones against ones, you had to strap up. You had to bring, because if you didn't, man, you talking about, I'm talking about live. I stated this before, but sometimes I sit back. Coach Brown used to be upset if we didn't chop block players like Baron Miles, Tyrone Williams, people that we knew we needed to win games.
Gotta get him on the ground.
You still had to practice. You had
Nope, too early, right?
Yeah, so, man, it was serious. And then it got to get back like that. It got to get serious.
Yeah, I agree. They have not looked like black shirts all season. We have a few good players that I could really point out off the bat. I mean, I know he hasn't got the stats this season, but Garrett Nelson's just got a motor that doesn't stop. He'll die for this team. So his contribution to me is always there. He's a general on that field. He's a leader, and he's trying to lead these guys. And I know O'Shawn Mathis is doing well right now. He was flying around at least last night, just not tackling. And the same with Luke Reimer. Kenny, you and I talked about Luke last night. Great expectations for him coming into this season.
Is that 23?
Yeah, and 28.
28? Oh, okay. Yeah.
23 is Gifford.
Yeah, they picked on him all night. They picked on 23 all night.
Yeah, Gifford got picked on a lot.
They picked on him all night in the middle of the field. So, I mean, well, like Abdul said it, Big Bro said it. You were used to a different mindset from the defensive players. And now they like to hear that, make them think they were tough guys, but they know they couldn't mess with the offense. But they were about their business. You know what I mean? Because they would talk crazy when we didn't do or one-on-ones when we weren't doing everything we could do. But once we got to really hitting, chopping them legs and hitting them and being aggressive with them on both sides of the ball, you know, on that side of the ball, then it was a different story. So, I mean, I just think defensively, I think personally we need to get faster at linebacker. That's my take on that. We need those hybrids in there to be able to cover and tackle. This is where you see that you've missed JoJo Domi.
Yep.
Because he can cover and he can tackle. He can cover that field. We still have that position and have the guys playing it, and we don't need it. Just go to a base 4-3. line it up, handle your business, apply the pressure. If you go to cover 2, cover 4, cover 3, 11 robber, 5 chop, whatever you go do. But I want our corners to be more aggressive. I want our defense to be more aggressive, and I want our front 7, protecting them boys on the line, to be in the backfield at the start of the ball. So after they hike the ball. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just a tough day, bro. This is a tough one.
It's unprecedented.
We've had many watching the last couple of years. This one is rough.
It's horrible.
Really rough.
Yeah, definitely rough. And we were it's like the last 3 years, we were all excited about this next season coming up. Thinking, optimistic, and realistic too. We're a team that can have a winning season. Win.
All Kool-Aid.
Yeah. We've been. I was listening to a couple of their guys' early shows talking about us, cruising through the first 3 games, and we start hitting the Big 12, and we had the opportunity based off last year to really get over that hump. And unfortunately, we've been saying it, it's the defense. It's our defense right now, and who's going to lead that defense? And I think one of the big things back when we were playing is there wasn't just one guy on the defense that was a leader. There was like 6 or 7 or 8. And some of them weren't even the starters. They were the guys that were rotating in because they had that depth to just go balls to the wall, and just rotate in and keep going and just keep going and keep going. It's
on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
hold each other accountable by position mainly. I, as a freshman, the leader of the receiving core was Abdul. Corey D and those guys were gone. It was Abdul. We knew that. Yep. You know what I mean? We knew the running back room was Lawrence and Clinton. Mm-hmm. We knew that. You knew the quarterback was Tommy. You knew the tight end was Gilman. But then you had EA. And then you had the rest of them was Shaw, pretty much. With Shaw, you had that defensively. You knew who it was in the linebacker. It was Eddie Stu. Secondary, it was B. Miles and the rest of them. You know what I mean? The line, you had CP. You knew in years forward. You knew. So we didn't have to say, oh, this guy, like people like to put out. We held each other accountable. And you knew, and defensively right now, who is the leader? Mm-hmm. Who is the one saying, you know what? This ain't it. So, I mean, this ain't it. This is not what we're about. Like I said the other show, black shirts by name. Ain't that what I said with Tony Bernard?
Yep.
Not by game. Not by game. So I said, people cry for that. People aren't for that. Don't just get it and be proud you got it. There's a whole lot of expectations when you put that on. And I'm an offensive player saying that we all are. There's a whole lot of expectations when you get that jersey that you need to understand what it is. Maybe you need to do some research.
And Kenny, not to cut you off though, but what you said it and you flew through it. But people cried when they got that jersey, man. I was in the locker. I'm looking. Can't come in the locker room and see that black shirt hanging up. Man, and I'm talking about real tears. That's how much it meant back then to be a black shirt. Like Cass was crying, calling home. Yep. Got to call mom, and it was like a moment, man, that them cats really just honed in on. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't tell that, man. You get a black shirt, it's on. I'm one of the guys.
Yeah, that level of expectation just went. The expectation was always super high from anybody on the team, right? And then that black shirt, that defensive player, that mindset just went from here to here. I mean, and that response, the honor to hold one in the history of it.
Yeah.
It needs to, it hits your chest hard, So hopefully, that's my biggest thing with the team right now.
But just about this during that time, man, I elaborate on this a lot too, because of how we played, what we were doing, of course, the winning. Just think about all them former black shirts that used to come back and watch practice. Broderick, Neil Smith, guys like that were still coming back and happy to be back, coming to watch and seeing what's going on down in Nebraska. Just guys still showing support at the university. Like, man, the last few times I've been to practice, I don't remember seeing too many people.
All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, we're down to our last minute, so I got to hone it in now. So I guess we'll just cut it off at this point. I mean, guys, you know where to find us now. Twitter and Instagram at Husker Army Pod. So for myself, Brian Knutson, for our other host, Kenny Cheatham, for our guest today, Mr. John Gibson, and of course, Mr. Abdul Muhammed. Thank you so much for joining today, guys. So, Husker Army, it's going to be a new era going forward. Looking forward to it. Just back the program and cheer as loud as you can. That's all we can ever ask. So, guys, you know what to do. You can be at ease, and you are all dismissed.